Okay, we're going to continue covering fortifications now, and we're going to take a look at trenches. Trenches are similar to other different types of fortifications like bunkers, in that you're going to get them listed in your order of battle during setup, and they also can't be placed in buildings or huts, rough, marsh, any of those types of terrains. You're not going to be able to place a trench in. Also, like other fortifications, you can't take and double up and have a bunker and a trench in the same same hex, and you can't have a foxhole with a trench as well, but you can have mines and wire in the same hex with a trench. Also, a trench's target modifier, which you'll see located at the bottom right, is going to be added to the hex's target modifier itself. So these open hexes, they wouldn't add any target modifier, so you would just have the defense of the trench itself. You'll notice though the trench has a +2 and a +1. The +2 is used for normal fire, but for indirect fire like mortars or offboard artillery, the trench is only going to provide that +1 bonus instead of the +2 bonus that you would normally receive. Do keep in mind though, just because the trench does add its target modifier to the target modifier of the hex, that can't exceed the maximum of +4 like usual. Also, trenches, their target modifier bonus, that's only going to apply to your multi-man or single-man counters. Vehicles and mounted units cannot benefit from the defensive bonus that trenches are going to provide. Also, when moving into a trench, you're only going to pay the movement cost to take and enter whatever the hex, whatever the movement point cost of the hex that the trench is located in. So these are 1 movement point hexes. So if this leader wanted to take and move into one of these trenches, he could do so at a cost of 1 movement point. There's no extra movement point cost for the trench itself. One of the neat parts about a trench, though, is the fact that if you have them connected like these two are, you can take and move from one trench to another, effectively treating them like they're one long trench, and you're only going to pay 1 movement point to take and move from one to another, and you're not going to incur that direct fire table movement penalty that you normally would. So if one of our German squads here wanted to take and move into the other hex, he would just take and pay 1 movement point and wouldn't be getting a movement penalty like he normally would for doing that. Now, similar when it comes to spotting, trenches are similar to some other fortifications. They're going to take on the characteristics of the hex that they're in. So they're neither blocking nor degrading terrain in and of themselves, but if they're in a hex that's blocking or degrading or open, that's what you're going to be looking for. When it comes to spotting the units, though, that are in the hex, you're going to take and treat the trench as if it were blocking terrain when it comes to spotting attempts. So what I mean by that is just because these trenches are out here in the open doesn't mean that these guys are already spotted. They would have to actively be spotted by either having a fire moved, assault moved, one of those type markers on them, or the American units over here on the right could make a spotting attempt against them, and they would treat these hexes as if they were blocking when making that spotting attempt.